My name is Danielle Driscoll. I am the Assistant Director of Alumni and Constituent Relations here at Pittsburg State. I just want to thank everyone for coming. This is our largest group that we have had from all of our guerrilla gatherings so far this fall. We're about to wrap up our virtual series next week, so we had about 12 probably. So yeah, I would say you guys definitely all showed up tonight. So way to go, Auto Tech.
Yeah. Woo. We're essential.
Yes, we are.
That's right.
Right. Yeah, we have people from all different graduation years. We have people from all over California, Michigan. I think we have someone from the Bahamas. A little bit of everywhere in between. If you guys want to drop your name, your grad year, and where you are in the chat here when we get started, you're welcome to do that. It's kind of nice to see where everyone's from. It just might take us a little bit too long to go around to all the squares and introduce ourselves tonight. So, you know, some of you, we actually were lucky enough to visit when we came to Texas in February, right before COVID kind of broke loose. That was kind of our last trip we took. We did have a guerrilla gathering in Kansas City after that, and then the next day we were closing down. So our office, typically, you know, we travel to see everyone. We bring fried chicken from Chicken Annie's with us. You know, that's always a hot commodity, of course. So this has been a little different for us this fall, like everyone else, but we've had some great virtual guerrilla gatherings, and it's awesome that we can connect with some people that we wouldn't necessarily or regularly be able to travel to and see. I did want to mention that Katie and I and my boss, John Bartlow, we have been working on putting together a trip to get up to Peoria, get up to Detroit. It was kind of going to be on our list for the summer, but obviously we didn't make that. So please know we have you guys as top priority on our long road trip, our next list. So we hope once COVID calms down a little bit, we can head north and visit you all. I know there's a lot of you up there and a lot of you are auto tech. So hopefully we can have John and Bob and some other faculty join us too. So yeah, I think we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and introduce a few people we have with us tonight. So we have Dr. Bob Frisbee with us. He is the Dean of College of Technology and also a professor. We have John Thompson with us, and he is the chair of Auto Tech and also a professor. We have Mike Elder, associate professor, Scott Norman, a professor, and Katie George is with us. She is the director of development for College of Technology. And I think I saw Becky McDaniel was also on here, and she is the executive director of development. So those are a few of our Pitt State people here, and I think I will go ahead and turn it over to Bob.
Okay, well, thanks, Danielle. Danielle, appreciate you getting us started, and just wanted to thank everybody this evening for joining us. And John Thompson said I get to lead this thing off, so you want me to go 20 or 30 or 40 minutes, John? Something like that, right?
You're doing great.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, seriously, just do thank you for joining us. And this is a new experience for us, so we're excited to do this, and it's amazing the turnout. So it's really fun that everybody can join us from all over the country and even the Bahamas, I think. So that's exciting. So I did make one. I think Danielle already mentioned it, but we did have a live face-to-face guerrilla gathering in February. We were in Dallas, and we also got to go to Toyota headquarters. I see a few of the Toyota folks on here, so that was fun. I think that was the end of February, and who would have known 2 weeks later everything's shutting down. So it was pretty crazy for all of us. So that was a fun face-to-face event for us, though, back in February. So a couple things I thought I'd do. I've been kind of asked to kind of give an overview, a little bit of the college, what's going on at the college level. So I'm going to do that. But I do want to tell you a little bit about kind of what's going on with myself. So I'll comment on that, but as has been said, Mike Elder's on here and Scott Norman. So we appreciate those two guys in automotive sharing with us. And as I was looking at all of your faces, it made me think of Ken Gordon. So probably about everybody on this stream has had Ken Gordon as a professor, and he's doing great. Most of you know that John Thompson is his son-in-law, so John sees him about every day. Okay. And John and I were just talking about Ken just a few days ago, and John says he's doing good. I haven't seen Ken probably since February or so. So every 2 or 3 months, Ken and I would go get lunch or dinner. And but also some of you know that some of the retired automotive faculty would meet at the Mall Deli every month or so for lunch. And so Richard Weathers is doing well. And some of you maybe know that he had married Carolyn Brooker, George Brooker's ex-wife or previous wife. And but she just passed away. I think it was a couple weeks ago now. Carolyn Brooker did.
Yeah.
So, but Richard Weathers is doing great. I've said many times, I hope I'm doing as well as he is, because he's what, 87, I think, something like that. And really running strong and still has several of his old cars. And then Ken Gordon's still moving a lot of dirt, right, John, with his John Deere tractors, and has a ball doing that. So, and Roger Adams is still around doing well. And a lot of you have had, and I don't want to steal John's thunder, I probably am, but
No, you're not.
But Bob Shore is doing well, still teaching for us. And John may want to comment on Ron Downing is officially finished up this last week with us. And so many of you have had those folks in class. I know lots of you had Ken Gordon and go as far back as Richard Weathers and even George Brooker and Roger Adams. So just a little bit, thought I'd share a little background, and Mike and Scott can add to some of that too. So, but a lot of you know me. I started at Pitt State in '93. I'd worked for Chrysler prior to that 7 years, and had graduated from here. And then I was with Chrysler in California, and then went to Oklahoma State for a year and worked on my master's. And then I came here, and I actually came here and backfilled George Brooker's spot. So when he passed away, that opened up a teaching position here, and I took that position. But we all know for sure that I did not fill his shoes. So nobody can fill George Brooker's shoes. So we know that. So anyway, taught for many years, and then did become the chair of automotive. And then we had an opportunity in the college for an associate dean, and I took that role on. And that was just a couple years. And then we had a transition and opened up the dean role. And I was the interim dean for half a year or so, and then became the dean actually just last February. So I've been in this role just since February. And so I'm enjoying it, and I'm proud to be in this position, and proud to be an alumni from the automotive program. So that's really great. So just a little bit of background I thought I'd share on that. So just a couple big picture things. I thought I might just give a little review on what's going on with the college and kind of the university really over the last several months. For all of us, I know it's been pretty crazy and a lot of things going on. But for us, just like everybody else, the middle of March, everything shut down. And this was as for everybody here, I'm sure, but for us, a dramatic happening in that, as you know, in automotive, we're face-to-face, hands-on program. And all of a sudden, we're teaching class online. The buildings are closed, campus is closed, the labs are closed, and we're needing to finish out 6 or 8 weeks of the semester online. So dramatic change for us. You guys probably know, but both Mike and Scott are doing an amazing job in the classroom, and did an amazing job with the transition. I know Scott did a lot of YouTube videos, and he can maybe share about that if we'd like, but he has his old Dodge truck in some of those, and so that's fun. But a lot of innovative things happened for our labs to continue virtually. So anyway, tough time, but we kept on going, and everybody just did everything virtually then. So the campus was completely closed, and did not have a graduation ceremony in May. And then the decision was made that the summer school would be online. And so even the labs had to be figured out how to make that happen. Some of the summer classes that involve some laboratory experiences. So, but also then in the summer, we worked toward the fall, and we're crossing our fingers that we could be face-to-face in the fall. And we were fortunate that we were able to do that. So campus opened back up at the end of July, and we were back face-to-face with students in classes in August as normal. And a lot of hybrid and what they call high flex and some online stuff, but we were able to have all of our labs open here in the College of Technology, and all of our laboratory classes going. And some of you may know the details, but as we went into the fall semester, the decision was probably made in late July, that we'd go the first 14 weeks face-to-face, and there'd be the fall break, so to speak, would be tied to Thanksgiving. So we wouldn't have a 2-day off in October, and then we tie that to the Monday and Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. And then the last 2 weeks of the semester would be online. So as you look at what's gone on around here, we've been very fortunate in that we've been able to kind of fit in that window these last 14 weeks. And then just in the last 3 to 4 weeks, things have really spiked up with COVID, and we were switching back to online on purpose anyway. So all the faculty and students were prepared for that. That was the plan from way back the first part of August. So so the professors were able to get all their laboratory work in those first 14 weeks. And then we're now in our last 2 weeks of the semester online. Matter of fact, I think next week's finals week. So this week and next week is finishing up the semester online. So we're really, really thrilled. The students, from my perspective, I've still been teaching one automotive professional development class in the fall. And the students showed up, and they were excited to actually be able to sit in the classroom and participate. So that was good. So we're on track. Well, let me back up one other thing. We did have some our graduation ceremonies a couple weeks back, November 20th and 21st. And so we were able to have a face-to-face ceremonies. And we had, they were alternative format. So it wasn't the traditional where you come in and sit down in the weed or whatever, but it really worked out well. And we actually had a ceremony for the May grads. So we had several students come back to campus that graduated last May to walk through a ceremony. So it was really good. Lots of positive feedback. And we were fortunate that the county allowed Pitt State to do it, but a lot of work went into making sure that was done safely and appropriately, and that was a real success for us. So the other thing then, just we're on track right now to start back up with normal classes again on January 19th, and so we're hopeful for that. And Scott and John and Mike can tell you that. And I know this word gets used a lot throughout the country, but they continually hear, be prepared to pivot. So meaning that at any time we could be told that we have to switch to online classes. And so everybody's kind of got that in their back pocket for that. But we're optimistic that we'll be able to be back also again with face-to-face classes on January 20th for our spring semester. There's not going to be an official spring break. They've moved that to the end of the semester in May. So we'll go straight from January 19th to whatever that day is, first part of May. So anyway, that's just kind of what's happened with us as far as Corona, and there's a lot of other pieces to that, but just a kind of a big picture. A few other things on the college. The college is doing well. We have 1,500 majors right now. Enrollment is down some at the university and the college. So we're continuing to work hard on recruitment, but I'm sure you see the news and the challenges for higher ed in that. So we're continuing to work on that. John will show you, he's got some slides we're going to look at, but one of the big things that's happened, not some many of you know, that we moved out here into the Kansas Technology Center in 1997, and the flooring had become an issue, and we were able to get funding to fix that. And so they pulled all the tile up on the first floor and polished the concrete, and then we have some carpeted areas. And then on the second floor, we had carpet put in. So it really looks good. The facility looks good in that mode. And John and others may share some of the upgrades as far as some of the equipment and some things that have happened in automotive. So that's some of my comments. So I think I'll stop with that and turn it over to John. And then I'm sure we'll have some time for questions later. So thank you.
Real good. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate that. I'm going to share screen real quick because I've got a PowerPoint that I want to share with you all. Let me get this started from current, and you can see a little bit about what we're going to talk about. A little bit of the department overview, faculty, staff. I'll go back a little bit on that, golf tournament, some of the things we're doing for recruitment and retention, scholarships, curriculum, and you can see the rest of the list there. And we will have time at the end for questions. Was able to look through a lot of good questions. A lot of your questions that you submitted, really appreciate those, some really good ones. And I do plan to cover those, a lot of those throughout the presentation, but we'll have some time there at the end. So please chime in if you've got something you'd like to talk about or ask us about. In terms of the department overview for our faculty and staff, we've got 8 full-time faculty right now, full-time. We've got 2 adjuncts, and then we've got a couple that are phased or being phased. Perry Cummins, you might recall, or might some of you know him. He served or worked here for, I think, 43 years, if I'm not mistaken. He's gone into phased retirement now, so Perry's only got 2 more semesters after this, and then he'll go to full retirement. And Bob Shore, Bob was Diesel Bob, we call him. Diesel Bob has been with us before I got here, I think about 2002, somewhere in there. He was our diesel coordinator for a while Tim Dell was our chair. And Bob is now actually working in our 2-year program, in the hands-on 2-year technician training program. It's a real good fit for him, and we had the void with Perry going to phased retirement. So Bob stayed on and will be with us through next year as well. We're also looking to hire some adjuncts. We're pleased to have been able to get permission to hire Mr. Dave Ferguson. He'll be teaching a brakes class for us this spring. And then, of course, as budgets are the way they are, trying to move to more of a model without damaging the program, but offering or adding some other adjuncts, some potential there. So, and you can see the folks that are currently with us in this department. As Dr. Frisbee mentioned, Scott Norman's our automotive coordinator. That was the role that Ken Gordon had for a long time when John Eiley was chair and Ken Gordon was automotive coordinator, I think till about 2005, if I remember. Dr. Tim Dell, you all might know him. Several of your faces would know him, and he's our diesel coordinator. Tim was our chair from 2008 till 2012. And Steve Pauly is our coordinator now for the 2-year program. Steve was hired, I believe, in 2010. So when Perry went to phased retirement, Steve picked up that coordinator position for our 2-year program. Does a fantastic job for us. And of course, Mr. Elder, Mike Elder's with us this evening. Great, just a tireless worker. We've got Randy Jones that works for us. He was, I think, 17 years with General Motors and a few years with Mazda. And so he teaches our dealership and management classes. What we used to call the service management and marketing emphasis. We've changed that name a little now. We've got Dr. Trent Lindblom, who's he coordinates our hybrid and our advanced vehicle systems emphasis area. And he's also our master's advisor, as we offer a master's degree now with an emphasis in automotive technology. I was advising that for many years, for 3 or 4 years, and now Trent's taken that over since I become the chair, which quick background, I became the chair here June 20th of 2017, when Bob Frisbee went to the dean's office in his associate dean role. So I took over as chair then. We also have Mr. Chauncey Pennington. Chauncey teaches diesel heavy equipment classes for us and comes from the John Deere Training Center there. And then you can see some former faculty. Roger Adams, doing great, as Bob said. Dr. Brooker passed away, I believe, 1992. Clint Carter, I haven't talked to him for about a year. For those of you who knew Clint, he retired, moved out to Wichita, and he's living out there, got a beautiful home out there with his wife. Ron Downing, he officially retired a couple, 3, 4 years ago, but had stuck around a little bit to help us out, working half-time. And this semester, just the other day, today, as a matter of fact, today was his last day of any kind of classwork. Next week is finals, and so it was nice to see Ron today. I put a big sign up on his door of his office that said rummage sale. Everything's half off. So if you're looking for something, staplers or printers or something, get a hold of Ron. He's giving good deals on that stuff. And then Ken Gordon, he's doing great. Little slowed down, but doing great. You know Ken Gordon. It's a great day at Pittsburg State University. He's always so positive. And Dr. Weathers, get to see him every once in a while too. It was nice when they were sharing meals every 3rd week. The retired faculty were meeting at Mall Deli, so that was real nice to be able to join them from time to time. They've taken a pause on that with COVID, so but hopefully that'll start back up here when COVID goes away. I wanted to mention our golf tournament. We when I became chair 3.5 years ago, I'm sitting in a meeting listening to the chair of the construction department talking about how they raised over $100,000 in 5 golf tournaments in 1 year. And that's just staggering to my mind. And I said, went right back into our next faculty meeting and said, guys, we need to get in the golf business. So Dr. Lindblom led that effort for us last year, not this past fall, but the fall before. And what a great day that was. Just wonderful. We had 12 teams, several players, raised some good money, just had a great time. Was on schedule to do that again this year, but with COVID, we had to punt. And so we're hoping, though, here pretty soon we're going to be able to get that back up. Maybe next year. We're hopeful that next year. It's a great thing to be a part of. If you golf at all, we'd sure love to see you. And the money goes to scholarships and recruitment, so it's for a good cause. And it's just a super fun day to get everybody together. I want to talk a little bit about our enrollment numbers. When we moved out to this building, some of you I saw out here with us today didn't come to school in this building we're in now. I didn't either. The building was built in 1997. When we moved out to this building, I believe the number was around 160. 158 is what comes to mind, but I wouldn't swear to that. Through the decline of the economy tanking in 2008, when the economy goes down, education goes up, and kind of vice versa. When the economy tanked, we had quite a spike in enrollment, and you can see we had numbers up over 300. We've come down now, we're at 210 this year, so we've lost in every area. In the 2-year, the 4-year, our BAS, our 2+2 degree, as well as our master's degree, which with COVID, kind of expected it, was optimistic, cautiously optimistic. We wouldn't get hurt too bad, and we're not hurt too bad, but it was very disappointing because prior to COVID hitting us, our housing contract requests are up. Our new freshman applications are up, as it says, 15 to 18%. We'd given a bunch of tours, well more tours last year prior to COVID. Even with COVID shutting us down, we gave more tours, so the interest was there. We've still given 42 prospective student tours this fall, so interest is still there. We're still optimistic that when COVID leaves, we're gonna be able to recover from this, but you can see that it's taken a little bit of a toll on numbers. But as Bob alluded to, this isn't just an automotive thing. It's certainly not just a Pittsburg State University thing. Unfortunately, higher education right now is being stressed. The number of 18 to 22-year-olds has just gone down. So that's just the reality there. Some of our recruitment efforts, we have a College of Technology open house. And some of you may recall John Eiley, Dr. Eiley. He was the chair of the automotive department for a long, long time. He now leads, he's retired, but he works still for us a few hours a week. And one of his jobs is to recruit and to grow our College of Technology open house. And with his help, last year alone, we had over 900 registrants come into our building and walk around. And that's just a huge day. You can see the pictures. The place is crowded. There's a lot of excitement. Students are just, it's just a great day on campus. This year, we had to switch to virtual. And so it was just not quite the same, but still yet, even with the virtual, we had 600 and I think 638 that participated. So we still had great numbers, but it was virtual. And by the way, while I'm thinking about this, if you go to pittstate.edu/autotech, you can actually take a virtual tour of our labs and facilities. So for those of you who haven't been back this way for a while, if you're curious what our labs and facilities kind of look like, we actually have 4 labs: the diesel lab, the collision lab, our 2-year and 4-year labs that you can check out on a virtual 360 shot. So you can kind of look around. There's some videos in there too, that if you're curious what's going on in the department, we've got some video up there too. Something else we're doing is Scott Norman had an idea to visit with some folks about what they do and how Pittsburg State University and the department helped them get to where they are. Those are great. We love hearing those stories because there's so many great stories out there. Dallas Grotheson's one that comes to mind. Many men, I could go on. I shouldn't have even said one name because now I'm thinking of 15 more. Really changed the trajectory of many of our lives. And so what Scott's trying to do with this initiative is just to capture those thoughts and those feelings and be able to share with the young man or young lady who kind of has that passion but hasn't really figured out what they want to do for a career. So we love that. If you have if you're somebody sitting there right now and thinking that would be kind of cool, I might want to participate with that, feel free to get a hold of myself or Scott Norman on that. We'd love to talk to you more about that initiative. We're also partnering with local schools as much as we can for with agreements to try and recruit students. So we're giving a little bit of credit, like for Tonganoxie up there. The faculty there is one of our program grads, worked at John Deere for many years. So when he teaches a diesel class, they're going to get credit for that class in our program. We're doing those kind of measures as well to try and incentivize those students to want to come down to go to Pittsburg State University. And of course, we're trying to grow that BAS. And for those of you who don't know, the BAS degree is what we call the 2+2. So that's a Bachelor of Applied Science. So that's for those students who go get their associate degree from a different university, or maybe from ours through our 2-year program. But most come from a different university or a different college, I should say, and they want to finish out their bachelor's degree. So we've got that BAS program. There's a lot of opportunity for growth there because we've seen a big trend for students wanting to stay close to home for the first year or two to knock out a lot of general education requirements. Saves money on tuition dollars, plus they can live at home. And so that BAS growth is very much a real for us on that. We have Scott Donaldson. We're very fortunate over in our Office of Admission. The Director of Admission is Scott Donaldson. And Scott's been working real hard in the background to try and get tuition down. He's gotten the Gorilla Advantage that you see there on the screen, the red states. He's gotten that to in-state tuition. So for Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas, and Tennessee, we give in-state tuition. The yellow and the blue get tuition and a half. So 150% of in-state tuition. So we're working on that. That helps mitigate those costs. But one of Scott's big initiatives, and I visited with him just at the dean's meeting yesterday morning. He was updating us, and I felt real good that we would get coast to coast in-state tuition. If nothing else, at least maybe just for the tech center. We get a lot of students from, especially in the wood department, from Arizona and other states. So if he could get that for us, that would help. The financial barriers are very real. In the chair position, I hear those stories a lot. And so anything that we can do to help with that, and scholarships and that kind of thing, really help. We're always, of course, a presence at the State Fair, the Hutchinson Career Expo, 4-State Farm Show, a lot of other recruitment activities that we try to do. Mr. Randy Jones, that one of our faculty, he's kind of in charge of that. And so he leads that effort for us. You can see we like to have students be out there as much as possible, because those students telling their stories are very, very powerful. I can talk forever, but a student talking to a prospective student really they're just breaks down a natural barrier there a little bit, and it just gives them a real neat thing to kind of think about. They can kind of see themselves in that student. And I noticed in this picture right there is Naveet Hill with Ford Motor Company. She's joining us tonight too. So there you go, Naveet, getting a shout out. We'll move on. For retention, we did quite a bit. And for many of you that I saw out there, you've been a part of this program not too long ago, some of you a little longer. What we're doing is what you probably recall even back when you were in the program, doing some industry tours or industrial tours. So we do that. We've gotten in a rotation where every third year we want to take students to Detroit. You know, Detroit's kind of the mecca of automotive in a lot of ways for our students. And so year before last was our first trip to Detroit. And I think we took 22 students up there. It's pretty costly, so it's a little cost prohibitive for us.
Is that thing about over?
But we were able to pony up some money to help students out through the department and make that trip happen. And we want to try and get on a cycle where we do that every third year. And then we have numerous industry visits. The pictures up in the upper right corner are Tim Dell and Chauncey Pennington taking their class out to various places that they like to take them to. We've all done those. So that's just a good thing to kind of get those students out seeing industry a little bit. With COVID, we needed to move out of the classroom, which was great because our students want to be in that lab anyway. And so we really had a lot more time in that lab this semester. We always spend a lot of time in the lab, but because of the space constraints that we get from a classroom, you can see the picture, the background there. There's Mr. Elder doing his thing in the lab out there teaching students in his classroom. So so immediately immersing those students into those experiences is very important. And then of course we have student organizations, Baja. Some of you may recall the Baja team. Some of you may have been here before. I believe 1991 was the first year. Chauncey Pennington's helped out a bunch with that, and so has Dr. Lynn Bloom. Back in the day, Roger Adams was in charge of that team and that effort. So we've still got that going on. CAM that stands for Christian Automotive Majors. So Bob Frisbee, the dean of our college, he's the one that's his brainchild. And I think this is now year 12. If I'm not mistaken, the first year was 2008. And I hosted the CAM group out at my house. I host them out there at least once a year out to my shop, or sometimes once a semester. In fact, we just got together last spring. We've gotten together one time this semester early on, watched Ford versus Ferrari, the movie. So a lot of fun. We set up a screen and order pizza and just a lot of good time. Of course, we had to have social distancing this time. And of course, this is standard operating procedure for us anymore on everything. So masks were required, and I was thrilled. The students walked in with masks. They didn't give me any grief about it. Nobody likes them. I hate it, but it is what it is, and we need to try to all do our part. We also had a neat young lady, Erica Ward, come into our program last year, and she said, I want a cars and coffee club around here. Who gets together on a Saturday morning and drinks coffee and talks about cars? She's just a neat young lady. I said, I love that idea. So we started, we call it Caffeine and Octane. They meet every first Saturday of the month right out here outside my office window in the parking lot. They just talk about cars for about an hour or so, and then they go down to Harry's Cafe down at 4th and Broadway here in Pittsburgh, and they all get together for a lunch. And so it's just a great time. They've had some consistency, even with getting a little bit knocked off kilter with COVID, but that's just also been a great group. Something else that we started doing several years, probably 7 years ago now, was a welcome back car show and barbecue. We do that on about the second Wednesday of every fall semester. If you're ever in this area, the second Wednesday of the fall semester is usually middle August. Please stop in and see us. We have a big car show. We clear out the parking lot. Students just bring their car or motorcycle or whatever they drive up. We cook hamburgers and hot dogs, and it is just a fantastic way to break the ice for our new students coming in. I've got a quick story. A friend of mine, his son's in our program. He called me one night. He said, "What'd you do to my kid?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "He won't shut up." He said, "He just got back from your welcome back barbecue." He said, "Usually when we call, we say, 'How you doing?' 'Good.' 'What'd you do today?' 'Nothing.'" He said, "I couldn't get him off the phone. He's just talking about the friends he met." And just a really neat group, just really touches you in the feels right there for those kind of things, to see that, because we all know what it did for us. And so just very gratifying to see that keep going. We've got a new freshman scholarship initiative that's going on. We've started about a year ago. When I came to Pittsburg, Kansas for school, I was broke as a joke. Had everything I owned in the back of a '79 Mustang that broke down on the way here, and no money. And so one thing I wanted to try to do was give some freshmen money. We don't typically give much money to freshmen because frankly, we just don't know who they are, and we don't want to give a bunch of money to them that might have helped out a senior, a junior, or a sophomore. So we haven't typically done much. We got a new scholarship award now for freshmen, and you can see some of the numbers there. We're targeting those who come to campus. So if you show up, you get a $500 scholarship, $250 for the fall, $250 for the spring if you join us in the automotive department. And then you can see other initiatives that we've got there in terms of how we're trying to recruit. We're going more after state skills contest folks. We host a skills contest here on campus. It's really a recruitment activity as much as a contest, but that's been a really good one too to get students involved and try to recruit students here. In terms of curriculum, we've done quite a bit. We still do have that automotive, that 4-year automotive, the service management and marketing emphasis that so many, including me with my diploma right up there. We changed that to corporate transportation dealership management, but it's still basically the same thing. You know, Ken Gordon taught in that emphasis area for many, many years. We still have a very, very good, a great diesel heavy equipment emphasis. You know, we're the only Cat Think Bigger school on the planet. We just do a lot with that, with our diesel heavy equipment students. In 2006, we added the collision emphasis. We placed a lot of students in collision repair and in insurance companies. So that's just some of the things within our 4-year program. What we recently, within the last year or so, offer now an advanced vehicle systems emphasis, and we were able to purchase a Chevy Volt for that program. I want to shout out to Travelers Insurance and State Farm Insurance as well. We've got a fleet of, I believe, 7 vehicles that are hybrids that our insurance partners have donated to us. It's been great. You might see in the background of that picture, the blue Volt up there is it's a Toyota Prius with a white door on it because it's in my collision lab. We're fixing that. So when we get one donated from the insurance pool, well, of course, it's been wrecked. And so we get it, we fix it in the collision lab, and then we're able to use that, put it in with our fleet. So we're pleased to have that new emphasis area. As Dr. Frisbee alluded to, we moved to classes online. I tell you, as chair of this department, I've never been so proud of the faculty. You can only imagine, you can all probably pretty well imagine what it's like to be teaching steering and suspension, air conditioning, brakes, electrical, whatever. And then all of a sudden, basically the flip of a switch, you got to start doing this online. And so really took a little while to get our knees under us, get our legs back under us. But man, I mean, Dell and Dr. Dell and Mike Elder, Scott Norman, Steve Polly, these guys, Steve Polly runs the 2-year program. That's technician training program that's 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, hands-on. What do you do there? And he was having Zoom conferences with his students. He's Zooming in his garage and showing them connectors and running gauges. And I mean, it just was incredible what the faculty stepped up to do to provide those educational experiences our students so desperately need. So it was really, really good. I mean, it opened some doors for us. It's really a bad thing, but some really good came out of it. We've increased our contact hours. That's however many hours that each student spends in our 8 core areas. So brake, steering, suspension, air conditioning, engines, auto trans, manual trans, engine performance. We've increased that to 5 hours a week of contact hours. What our goal there is to better prepare those freshmen that come in the door for those internships at the end of that freshman or sophomore year, so that they're ready to jump into those entry-level positions as interns and can really hit the ground running for those. We're looking to increase the master's degree that we have from 9 hours of automotive specific classes to 18. So we're working on that right now. We just recently developed or offered an automotive maintenance for non-majors. And I want to give a shout out to Mike Elder for that. He completely developed that class from start to finish. Mr. Randy Jones will be teaching that coming up. But the neat thing about that class is just kind of that introductory, like automotive fundamentals that Mr. Ken Gordon taught for so many years. It's a 3-hour class. It's really targeted for non-majors, but we throw some majors in there too that may come into our program with very, very little experience. It's a great kind of just a starting point for those students on that. Because of what our industry partners have been asking for, we've offered a 1-hour Excel class. We live in a world, of course, with industry and Excel, and being proficient in Excel is a very good tool for students to walk out of here with. Miss Kinder O'Connor, who was our department administrative assistant for many years, now works over on main campus in outreach, or excuse me, I shouldn't have been saying. Anyway, she moved over on the main campus. She teaches for us our professional development class, and she's going to be teaching our Excel class for us this spring as well. So we're excited about that. We're offering, we've been working on an online BAS. As I said, the BAS that's the Bachelor of Applied Science. That's the 2+2 degree that we offer. We want to, when I became chair, I was getting a lot of phone calls and email requests about what do we do for online. We were reluctant to do much on that. There's just, you got to have those hands-on experiences. But the good thing about the BAS is they've gotten those hands-on experiences in their 2-year associate degree. So there was some avenues for that. We're about to wrap that up. We're getting close to that being completely now where it's online. We do have some students who are kind of test pilots through this program right now. But we're excited that that could bring in more opportunity, particularly with the COVID that we're dealing with right now. We've offered now a DHE, a Diesel Heavy Equipment Certificate, and a lot of our 2-year students are taking advantage of that. So they're coming into our 2-year program, taking classes, the automotive gas and non-diesel classes. And they do those in the morning, and then they can take some diesel classes in the afternoon so they can learn the diesel world and they can learn the automotive gas world at the same time. So there's been really good for that. And then Dr. Tim Dell, he, our Diesel Heavy Equipment Coordinator, he wrote a grant and was approved for a $95,000 grant to buy Bosch Rexroth trainer. We actually bought a second one as well, borrowed some money and did some things to get a second one bought because we were trying to become a Bosch Rexroth training center. It would be the only one in the United States. And we're going to be able to use those boards for our own program, obviously, but we're also doing industry training with that as well. So those have opened some doors. They haven't arrived yet. We expected them. Before COVID, we had expected them in July. With COVID now, we still don't have them. And the latest word was we're on the docket. We're in the queue to get built and shipped. So we're cautiously optimistic that we'll have those there pretty soon. So in terms of industry training, here's just an example. We've got the Kansas Technology Center for Career and Technical Education. That's here in this building, and what that center does for us is support us for initiatives just like this. If we want to do some industry training, we partner with the center. They help absorb some of the costs. They do all the booking and the scheduling, and then our faculty show up and teach the class. It gives the faculty an opportunity to make a little extra income, but it also is a great opportunity for industry to send folks to for training. I believe Matt with AGCO, Matthew is here tonight, and he's got a couple students that will be coming to that, I believe, and some others. So we're already launching that, and we're really excited about that. That partnership with the center and the potential that gives to us here at the Kansas Technology Center. Donations, to be quite honest, they're a little down in 2020, which not to be not new news there. We just didn't have the donations. Typically, to be quite honest with you, that list that you see there would be twice as long. We get a lot of donations. We're incredibly blessed in this department. It's just very humbling, especially as a chair of a department, to pick up the phone and somebody's wanting to donate 3 General Motors trucks or engines or transmissions from Toyota or what have you. We're just so fortunate. AGCO, Case, Caterpillar. I mean, we're John Deere. We've just had so many good students that go out into the world, and once a gorilla, always a gorilla, and they think of us and they're willing to make those donations. So you can see a little bit of what we got there in 2020. The pending at the bottom says 3 2019 GMC trucks, and we've actually picked up 2 of those from Oklahoma City, and I think I'll be driving down next week. Bob Shore might go with me. He just had a shoulder surgery, so I texted him just a little while ago. He's pretty sore. He doesn't know if he'll ride down to Oklahoma City with me next week to pick that up, but we'll get that 3rd GMC truck. The cool thing about that is it's a diesel half-ton, so we appreciate that technology as well. And then you can see the 2019 Lexus. Big shout out to our friends at Toyota and Lexus for that. Volkswagen, at Ford, thank you very much. We've just been very fortunate for the donations. They keep coming. Travelers Insurance, the lot. We really appreciate that. We put together a wish list For our industry partners, we typically share this with our advisory council. This is just some of the things that we put on a wish list that if you have any inclination would like to help us out, or if you think of a donation, some technology that was going to go in a dumpster or a bin somewhere that we could use. That's our biggest challenge, is to constantly have that new latest and greatest technology to train on. I like to share with people that, if we were teaching plumbing, we wouldn't have changed much in the last 100 years, but our automotive industry, diesel heavy equipment, collision, I mean, it's ever burgeoning, it's ever evolving. So staying in front of that with the tools, staying in front of that with the technology from industry, it means a great deal to us. So if you ever want to pick up the phone or send us an email with some technology, we'd appreciate it. And again, there's just a quick list of some things that we'd like to have at some point as well. Our budgets aren't the greatest. I want to be straight up with you on that. We get about $31,000 a year from the state that we get to use. We do get about another 15 to 20 in tech fees every year. So we get a little, but anything we can do, that golf tournament, getting $5,000 there, it's a big deal. I mean, it really, really is. The accounts, we're working hard to try and keep that funding where we can stay and remain viable. In our facilities, for those of you who haven't been here, this is the hallway for the Automotive Technology Department. We're incredibly blessed with 7 labs, a lot of great space. Of course, we could always use more. We really desperately could use a larger diesel heavy equipment lab. I've been working on that for a very, very long time. We were fortunate to get a $40,000 donation from a former student and his parents 3 years ago, where we were able to create an outside lab space. We're fortunate that we have somewhat mild weather here in Kansas. And so we're able to actually utilize that space quite a bit of the year. Really just those winter months, for just a few months, we're not able to, but even then sometimes kids button up and we're going to go out, students can go out and get in the cold a little bit to use that lab. But as Dr. Frisbee was talking about, we had tile floors in here, and that tile was 20 some years old, and it was time to go. And I really appreciate Dr. Frisbee's leadership. We've kind of kicked that can down the road for about 5 years, saying we got to do something about these floors. And one of the very first things he did, and when he became our full dean, was make sure that the facilities, that we get that done. And so big shout out to Bob for getting that done last summer. It really looks fantastic. Nice, cool industrial look, and just really neat. We're also working on hopefully going to get an outside sales lab at some point as well. And so the initiatives, even though we're still struggling in some ways, and COVID hadn't helped and those kind of things, we're continuing to push the envelope. We're not just going to sit around and wait. We got to keep moving and keep shaking. Somebody that really helps us do that, man, big shout out to Katie George. She's joining us tonight. And I just want to say, I really enjoy working with Katie. Not only is she just a fireball and just a lot of fun to be around, she's a doer. I mean, she travels, she puts the pedal to the metal, she goes, she's done so much. She's probably one of our best advocates out there, and not only just fun to be around and fun to work with, but she gets results. Katie, do you want to talk just a minute about some of the stuff? I want to tell them about what you told me today with your visit to Kansas City area, but anyway, do you want to jump in or?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is just kind of a summary of the 2019 calendar year development efforts that I was a part of. And obviously this year has been a little bit slower because I haven't been able to travel since March. So for those of you who know me, know that is really hard for me. I like coming to see you guys and getting to meet you and learning about what you do. And so I definitely am happy to see a lot of familiar faces on tonight. So glad you guys could make it. As you may have heard us mention earlier, in February, we were able to host a guerrilla gathering at Toyota's headquarters in Plano. And we had, I think 20 some guerrillas join us that day. And so that was a great turnout. And then at the beginning of March, right before everything shut down, I went to the Connect 2020 conference hosted by the Association of Equipment Management Professionals. And I was on a panel during the conference talking about recruiting diesel technicians and how industry can work better with universities and programs like ours to better support those programs and hire those diesel technicians, because some of you might know, there's a major shortage in the US right now. We had some significant gifts come in this year. Of course, we had one endowed scholarship that was set up last year. Mr. Vandelin is actually on, so thank you very much to Dave and his wife, Susan. That was an awesome scholarship for College of Technology female students. So that was awesome. And then our Guerrilla Giving Day that comes up every year in February. Some of you may have heard about this or seen emails or social media posts and things like that. Our Automotive Advisory Council agreed to match up to $1,250 that came in for the automotive department on Guerrilla Giving Day last year. So we had several generous guerrillas chip in that day, and then with the match, we were able to raise almost $5,000 for the department. And like John mentioned earlier, that goes a long way. So every little bit counts, every little bit means a ton to us. So thank you guys so much for your support. I'm lucky to be in my position and see how much it really impacts our students and our faculty, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you.
Yeah, awesome. When I say it changes the trajectory in students' lives, I mean that. I see it. I see it happen in this office. The gifts that we get, like the Dave and Susan gift, that scholarship is just amazing, and it changes lives. And so thank you for those of you who participate. Our phone-a-thon, when we call you for phone-a-thon, that goes to scholarships and recruitment efforts as well. Those dollars have an impact, and so thank you very much for that. And thank you, Katie, for talking to us briefly about that. Couple things coming up. We always have our company day. This year we had to cancel because of the COVID thing, and we probably won't be having our traditional automotive orientation day. Probably every single one of you on this phone call tonight, on this Zoom, participated in AOD. I know that if you didn't back in the day, Mr. Gordon would call you into his office and let you know what he thought about that. So we're still doing that. We're the only department still led on campus that does an orientation day. I guess that started years ago, but those have been abandoned by many others, and our department, though, still carries that on. Scott Norman leads that for us as our automotive coordinator. Scott is our leader of that effort and does a fantastic job for us every spring. We have that. In the fall, we have company day. But I just wanted to put this up there. There's probably not a lot of interest in any of this stuff from you folks, really, but a couple things. One quick note, we have an advisory council. We always appreciate former students that want to participate. That's great. We have an ethics seminar that really, really is a great thing for our students to hear from you kind of folks about what you should and should not do. Our industry partners have a lot of great stories, not of course, obviously, about anybody on this call doing something wrong, but a coworker, somebody that you know got fired or got walked to the door because of a stupid decision that they made. And so we're always looking for folks that would help us with that ethics seminar. Obviously, we talk to our students about that every day in class, or a lot in class, but you know, it kind of becomes a broken record. It kind of becomes dad and mom talking to you. And it's really cool when the cool uncle shows up, or the cool aunt, maybe Aunt Kathy, cool Aunt Kathy shows up and talks about that stuff. So we always appreciate everybody and what they do for us in those efforts. And again, I want to push that golf tournament. If you swing a golf club, even if you don't, come down and spend a day with us. We'd love to see you. With that, I think I addressed quite a few of those questions. Is there anybody out there that has any questions you want to throw to the group, to Bob Frisbee, to myself, to Scott, to Mike, anyone?
I have a question.
Sure.
First, I'm the youngest alumni of that university. I came to that university in 1967, and I got my master's degree in the auto technology in 1970.
Wow.
I'm originally from Iran. I went back to Iran in 1970 and became vice president and member of board director of the biggest sugarcane industry in the world,
Wow.
27,000 employees. And what I learned in that university, or college at the time, made me who I am today in Los Angeles. Actually, they call it Tehrangeles because there are so many Iranians here.
Yeah.
Well, all I can do for my friends colleagues and I should say schoolmates in Pittsburg, Kansas. If you ever come to Tehrangeles, you're my guest for shish kebab.
That's great. I believe some guerrilla gatherings are planned out there at some point.
Yeah,
So we'll try to have to connect with you, Ira.
Yeah, actually, my real name is Iraj Morshidizadeh, but to make a living in this country, I had to get a fictitious business name, and they're Ira Morsh. Iraj Morshidizadeh is 13 letters. By the way, I have a question. Are there any Persians there, Iranians?
Iranian students right now, current? I don't believe so, but I could be wrong. We have several international students in our program and in our master's program. Specific Iranian, I'm not sure about that.
I went to Miami, Oklahoma, and then came to this college or university, and what I learned made me who I am.
Yes.
Very successful. I didn't go to Automotive Technology, but from what I learned in there, as I said, I was in material department and warehouse and whatever. So I knew what I was doing because of the technology I learned there and the education I learned there. Pittsburgh for me is always my second home.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. Yeah, so many of us on this phone call tonight with that exact same sentiment, that it changed our lives and opened doors up. And so many times when I'm visiting with alumni, it's the same comment that, man, I just wish I could tell everybody what Pitt State could do for you, because what it did for me was amazing.
I'm the youngest alumni of the college.
Or is that right?
Right. I'm only 40 years old without considering the nights.
I like that. I like that. I'm a 30-year-old with 23 years of experience. Very good. Thank you. Any other questions?
Look forward to come there.
Well, I'd love to have you. Get in touch with us. We'll host you. I'll buy lunch.
You don't have shish kebab. We have to go to, at the time it was, what was it? A hamburger place across us.
Yeah. We got great chicken. We got great chicken. And Mall Deli.
Beautiful, beautiful city, beautiful human beings there. I tell you, the people in that part of country are different than any other. I mean, I started my life in Miami, Florida. When I was at Pittsburg, Kansas, for your information, I was a bus driver in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
I made 1967. I made $8 an hour driving a bus.
I was born in 1967.
That's what I was going to tell. What's her name? Danielle Driscoll. You were not born there. You were not born there.
That's true.
But best time of my life was at that university. I never forget the student union.
Yeah, good. That's great. Well, if no other questions, if anybody's got a question, let us know. Otherwise, I'll turn this back over to Danielle. I think she'll got some wrap-up comments and some prizes and some other good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and stop share, Danielle, and turn this back over to you.
Right. Perfect. Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
Is everyone sure? No more questions? I'm a little surprised.
Cheers.
I don't have a question, but I do want to say it's.
I'm supposed to be a Muslim. Cheers.
I did want to say it's very good and very interesting to see how you all have adapted over this year to continue classes and to continue providing the same quality of, education and guidance and the same level of effort that you put into each and every student, and being able to adapt so quickly and still deliver. Like, I can see that the quality that you're still delivering is the same as always.
Yes.
And I mean, I appreciated that while I was there, but I really appreciate still seeing that now. Like that's impressive. That's an impressive thing about Pitt State that I love. And also an impressive thing about where I work now at Ford is just seeing how different people and different companies and organizations have handled this year. And some really stand out for just doing an amazing job with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Naveet. It's great to see you.
Same here.
Yes, very good. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you.
A lot of familiar faces. I love this. This is great.
Except me.
We should get together sometime.
By the way, if you ever want to make money, come to me. I'm a real estate,
Noted.
I'm a real estate broker for 33 years. I do commercials, and in Los Angeles, you can make money. Okay.
Very good.
Very good. Yeah. Any
For
other
everyone-
questions?
Let me predict one more thing before we all go.
Of course.
Market is gonna fall.
Oh,
Is gonna fall bad because 33% of Americans are behind their mortgages.
Hmm.
That means if you have something that you want to sell it now, rent, and buy it 2 years from now, a year and a half from now, and you'll be making money. If you have any questions, my number is 310-970-4820. I repeat, 310-970-4820. I don't expect any money. If I can help,
great.
Mike.
Hey, John, I was just going to say, with this many industries represented tonight, I just wondered if this might be a good chance to check in with all the industries and just see what's going on in each one's perspective, spaces with how business is working and focus on those kind of opportunities that generally you guys need to try and stay in line with. As industries are, COVID definitely in my industry put a pretty big knock on some of the plans that were in our space, but of course we all were put into some essential spaces we could kind of keep going. But it did make us have to look twice at a number of the things that we've always taken for granted, I think, as far as how employees work, where they work, the type of skills that are always out there. I think that goes both for Caterpillar and for our dealers. But I wondered if this might be just a good chance to just have everyone share just a little bit, if they're willing to, talk about just their individual industries and how they feel things look like this year and maybe in the years to come, that can always line up with what Pitt State is trying to deliver as their deliverables and students. So I'll go first. I mean, I think things are still, for us, it's still pretty steady Eddie. We still need good, solid technicians. We still need good people that understand the industries. Those folks are getting harder and harder to find that want to be in the industry, it seems like. And yet it's one of the most, it's an industry that's fantastic. It's exciting. It has a lot of growth to it, but you just have to get into a space where you look at it from more than just being a mechanic or mechanical, but as something that is a rewarding career. It is a career. And I know you guys struggle a lot of times getting mom and pops to understand that their little Johnnies and Susies aren't going to be the dirty grease monkeys that we've always thought about. Yes. There's an actual career here. Mm-hmm. And the trades are becoming an unbearably difficult place to find good people that want to be in the trades. And I wish I could go back in a time machine and start over a little bit, because my career would probably still be in this business, but I would have had a lot different probably starting out experience.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Yeah, thanks, Andy. Anybody else like to share?
Yeah, I'll share on that as well. So one of the things you mentioned was changing the way that employees work. And so I work at Ford. I work with the Technical Assistance Center. And it's kind of funny because I asked in my interviews, I asked if I could do the job remotely. And I was told that it was possible, but it wasn't, basically that's not how they did it. Like you could do it, but that's not how it was done. So I was like, okay, like that's just something that I wanted to know. Was going to change my mind on the decision or anything like that, but it was something that I was interested in, and I would have liked to work remote. So I asked. So, but we got started. I graduated in December and moved to Michigan in the end of December, and went through all of my training. And we got to the end of training, and as soon as I went live, we started working remote, and we've been working remote ever since. And they have learned, and they came back eventually. They didn't say it to like me specifically, but they said it in like team meetings. But they're like, oh, like you guys can actually do this. You guys do really well doing this. And it's something they had never considered before and never wanted to change before, that because that's just not the way it had been done. But they're realizing that it's actually done great things for productivity, not only in our group, because our group is basically web-based and phone-based, but also across the company in other positions that it's very possible to do the job remotely. So they've seen where it's been helpful. We definitely have changed a lot of things around. We have adapted. I have been impressed with the way we have adapted. There was no sense of panic or chaos. Everyone just went with the flow of things, and it was enough preparedness and enough like great critical thinking and management to make quick changes that really worked really well, where we're still able, because we support the dealers. We support everyone that's out on the road that needs to get where they're going. And we also support, Ford also supports a lot of like fleet vehicle. Basically, I worked with FCA before, and I worked with Ford now. And I say, if you want to drive something that's fun, drive an FCA car. If you want to drive something that's very functional and will definitely help you get things done, drive a Ford. And we support a lot of fleets and just a lot of people that need to get things done. They have businesses where they have our trucks or our vans, and they need to get things done. So we need to make sure that our support is constant and steady. And we've been able to do that very well. I've been very impressed with that.
Yeah. At our advisory council meeting in September, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was 2 industry guests out of about 20, low 20s, that were at work. The rest were from home. So it's a huge shift in this industry. And really, I see some blessings coming from it. I mean, I see we're forced to deal with it. And so we can't do that. That's not an option anymore. We're not going to even entertain that. How are we going to do this? And I see you nodding your head, several of you. Really,
John, I would tell you, I think when COVID goes away, I don't think we're going to go back 100% to what we were doing before. We've realized that maybe we don't need all this business, all these office structures and different buildings. I was telling Katie on the side, I haven't traveled one day since March of this year.
Wow.
And up to that moment, guys, I'd been traveling 25 years on an average of about 150 nights a year. So you do the math, I've been on the road about 10 years. But since then, we've been, my business didn't change one little bit. We were still able to, with technology, we can still connect, we can still communicate, we can still get things done. Now, I will tell you that we are getting to a point where we're starting to lose touch with customers just a little bit, because there comes a point where you do need to get kind of one-on-one with people and see what's really going on. But for the most part, you can handle a lot of business remotely.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true.
To add to that, I just want to add one more thing to that, is that we, like a lot of us, I know my team, we are not going to go back to the way it was. We've learned a lot of things where we will continue to incorporate some of the things that we're doing now when and if we go back fully to the office. But one of the things that I is super important to me that I've noted about Pitt State and the way you guys have addressed this as well, is that I see you reaching more students in the future, not only now with the outreach that you're doing now and the way that you've changed things now, but I see that in the future, and I see this this education being more accessible to more people in the future.
For sure. And even like our virtual open house that we did. Now, next year, hopefully we're back to an open house that's face to face, but we can also have those guests from Arizona come in virtually.
Which is something that I didn't have coming from Georgia.
Correct, exactly, right. It was a phone call back then.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, so we're gonna see some good things come out of this. We're all ready for it to emerge from the other side, but some good will come. That's right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Hey, John, I want to make a comment. As I was telling you earlier today, as you know, so I started a new company earlier this year without, COVID was just kind of starting, but at that time it was in 2 weeks, we'll be back to work. But it's a new automotive company. We're hiring on average 60 people a week. So we're onboarding 60 people a week, completely remote. Our company's, we brought over 1,500 people on since COVID that have never stepped foot in any office. So it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
And a question I have for you is, do you have any feedback from the students? Are they wondering what it's going to look like when they graduate? I mean, it's going to be the same thing. They may not even be going into an interview or an office. I never did. I went to my house. I've had a computer shipped to my house, and I've never been anywhere else. So
yeah.
And how are they or how did they like it, or how are they doing with it?
Yeah, in terms of the work part of that, obviously we don't see. I haven't gotten a lot of feedback. I talked to Naveet when she's in town. We connected, but in terms of the school, there's mixed reviews on that, to be quite honest with you. A lot of our several general education classes went completely online. And I can tell you, as a father of an 18-year-old daughter in this university right now, she was not a big fan of that. She likes that face-to-face class. So the students really, my opinion, and other faculty, please feel free to weigh in here. My opinion is the students appreciate it where it's okay, but generally speaking, they want to be in a classroom. And I didn't think that'd be the way it was. I really thought the students would really take to online just real quick, because I mean, that's why we don't have malls. Everybody shops online, everything's online. But the one thing that I have found is the education, these students, they want to be in the classroom. Of course, and I'm dealing with automotive students, so I see that in my face. They want to be in those labs, having those experiences. But I'm talking my daughter who wants to be a social worker, my son who's in plastics. I mean, it seems to be universal that students aren't, well, my son's girlfriend is going to be a teacher, early education teacher, and she doesn't everybody wants that face-to-face. There's just, I think, too many barriers. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure on that, Pete, but they like that face-to-face. So there's some good, but then we're a face-to-face institution. Thank goodness. I mean, really, thank goodness that we made it through the semester and never had to punt. We modified. I thought it was a smart schedule. Students are gone now for dead week and finals week, which makes sense. They don't have to be here for dead week. They don't have to be here for finals week. So that was a good kind of mitigation that we did. Spring semester, we're not going to have spring break. We don't want large population leaving and then coming back, because that's a great way to spread it. But in terms of back to just the classes, they're okay where we can, but generally speaking, students like that face-to-face. Thanks for that question, Pete. Anybody else?
Just real quickly. Gary Heine, I'd have to second you on the education. I don't know if I'm coming through or not.
You are.
I'm on the school board here, and the K through 12, the younger the students, the more they need that FaceTime.
Yes.
I mean, the high school students last spring when we had to go remote, they did okay, but it really wasn't great. So far this year, we've been able to keep our school open, and it looks like we'll make it through the end of the year.
Yeah.
With the doors open 100% face-to-face. So
That's really good.
and I think we got some positive things coming here in Kansas. It looks like the government's going to put education near the top of the list where it should be for the vaccinations, is my understanding.
Okay.
And hopefully we can keep the schools open face-to-face, and hopefully the colleges can too. Thank you.
Yes, it's super important. Those students who are just remote learners like this, they're just not engaged. They feel a very big disconnect. And why are you all here tonight? Because you're so connected to Pitt State. They're losing that. So it's super critical that we stay connected, and those students feel engaged, feel heard. We can meet with them. We, as faculty, we leave our office doors open for a reason. We want to be welcoming to those students to come in and ask those questions. So, and be connected like that. That's what our welcome back barbecue does. That's what our events do. So we look forward to those days coming back. Very good.
John, I'd like to add to some of this. First of all, I'd like to kind of echo what Andy said about the need for technicians, and he's talking about Caterpillar and the heavy industry. Automotive industry is the same way. We lost a few technicians through since March, through the COVID era, is the term I'll use. But we still have nationwide, just for our company, just for our dealerships, approximately 5,000 open technician positions. Other manufacturers, Ford, GM, Toyota, all fighting the same devil. Got the same thing. From the education front, from the industry education, one of the things that we did was we shut down all 26 of our training centers back in March and shut them down for about 45 days. And then 1st of June, we started, actually about 75 days, I guess. As states and locales started lifting some of the stay-at-home orders, we started opening our facilities again. And we are just now getting back to where our classes, some of our classes in our training centers, we're allowing 6 people, where we did allow up to 10 in each class. So it's been a gradual. We started out with 4 people per class. Now we're up to 6. So that's a little bit about what we've also started doing, something that we've tried to avoid for years, and that is virtual training. We now have, I believe, 6 courses in the pipeline for a virtual online training. The 2 instructors here that work for me are laughing at me because I'm talking about virtual training, Jordan Ellis and Kevin Anderson. Yeah. And they've both been doing some of the development work on those courses, by the way, and doing a very good job. On the business front, we had a dismal second quarter, okay? And that's an understatement. We had a wonderful third quarter, and that's also an understatement. It's broke all kinds of sales records in the third quarter. Nobody's really sure why. So we did have a very good third quarter for sales. It was announced yesterday that Ram Trucks is the only brand to win Motor Trend Truck of the Year 3 years in a row. 2019, the Ram 1500 won Motor Trend Truck of the Year. 2020, it was the Ram Heavy Duty. And this year it was a Ram TRX, 800 horsepower pickup. Everybody needs one of those.
Yeah, I need 2.
And I say that because I want everyone to remain optimistic that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We're not sure how far it is down that tunnel to that light, but there's one down there. Yeah, and we're going to come out of this. Every industry that stays vigilant is going to come out of this better than we went into it.
Yeah.
And the last thing is, and if you've been anywhere near an automotive trade magazine in the last year, FCA is going to be merging with PSA, which is Peugeot, in the first quarter of next year, and that is still on track to take place. And that will introduce a lot of new product for us for FCA into the United States, and will introduce a lot of new product for Peugeot and PSA into Europe. So it's kind of a marriage that is going to work well because of the trade in technology and also trade in the marketplace.
Yeah, great. Very good. Well, you mentioned Kevin Anderson. I just got to say, he gets the cutest daughter award for the kid being there.
Yeah, I was scheduled to be out of town this week, so I signed up for it, you know.
Yeah,
I did have a little interruption there.
No, that's good. It was nice to see.
Scott Norman had asked what the name of the new company is going to be after the merger in the first quarter, and that is going to be called Stellanis, Stellanis. And Kevin or Jordan, correct me if I spelled it wrong.
Okay.
Jordan corrected it in the text message.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Very good. Thanks, Jordan. Very good. Thanks, Cecil.
This is Jeffrey Cochran. I'm going to tack on to some of what Cecil said. He kind of stole my thunder there on the technician count thing. I was going to mention that because that's one of my metrics that I have to meet every year, and obviously we're not going to get anywhere close to that this year. But yeah, just like Caterpillar, we're dying for technicians on the dealer side. And the majority of my dealerships are actually lower now than they were at the beginning of COVID, obviously. Because they downsized when they didn't have the work there, and they're slowly coming back up. But one of the other things that I think is actually a good thing is it seems like my technicians aren't as lazy now. They were relying on me whenever they had a difficult vehicle to come out and put my hands on it with them. And now that when I wasn't able to travel, and then I was for a couple months, and now we're not again, they're having to work a little harder and actually put in some effort to figure out those vehicles that they're struggling with.
Good.
So from Kat's position, our dealers are struggling with the rate of attrition is speeding up faster than the refill of new blood into the system. And we know that we have about a 2 to 3 year window here where we just don't have a catch up space. Unless of course we have an unfortunate, drop in business, which would slow everything down, which may give a time for catch up. But we just know in 2 to 3 years, we have this unfortunate can't make it up gap where we're going to have more retirees than we're likely going to have new blood coming back into the pipeline.
That's the same issue we're having, Andy. 55% of our technicians are over 50 years old, and 30% of our technicians are eligible to retire.
Yeah, so we have guys that are choosing to take retirement sooner than your classic, 65 years old, right? They're starting to leave the industry at much younger ages now too.
Yeah, that's what's happening to us, and it's the same thing. So we need the young people coming in to replace these retirees, and we'd like to get them a couple of years before the guys retire so that we can have the older group mentor the younger ones.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's actually something that in my position, we get to kind of do a little bit. It's been interesting. When I was at FCA for my internship, I was on the training side, like the training and development side, and where I am now, I'm on the support side, like dealer and technician support. And so a lot of the very new technicians that haven't had as much experience or haven't finished as much all of their training or whatever, that have way more questions, those are the people that I get to help on pretty much a daily basis. And so I get to help teach them too in the assistance and the help that I give them. It's not only, and the way that Ford really approaches it, we're not just here to give them answers, but we're here to help them learn and help them so that they learn something for future reference. And we try to provide as much support from our side of things that they can learn from and take and do well going forward as well. So it's really fun to see that from my side.
Yeah, that's a good comment, Naveed. We struggle, like all OEMs, to find technicians for our dealerships. We've got 835 Hyundai dealerships and about 400 Genesis dealerships across the country. While we haven't given up on kids that come from a traditional automotive education, we've really struck a little bit of gold this year in a mentorship program that we've started, where we're actually finding mentors that are inside the dealership those techs that are kind of getting ready to retire, and we're actually teaching them how to be coaches, because I ran a big Lexus dealership in Portland, Oregon for 5 years, and I had plenty of people in car wash and valet and porters that were just kind of auto enthusiasts, but they didn't know how they would even start on an automotive education. So just pairing them up with a mentor in the shop, and then we feed micro modules, literally like how to rack a car, how to rotate tires, how to not strip out a drain plug, right? How to not double gasket the oil filter when you change it, to really kind of work them up into really being an express technician. And then they've got options to go to a trade school, maybe part-time if they need to. And that's worked out. And the other thing that we're doing is, when we look at our vehicle engineering and our service repair engineering, we're trying to make it as silly, stupid, simple as possible, right? I mean, after being at Toyota and Lexus for 28 years, Hyundais are a little bit click and stick when it comes to repairs, right? They pretty much just, if they're going to fail, it's a component failure, and you just unbolt it and put it back together. And we really try to make all of our repairs easier all the time, knowing that we have less skilled technicians that are working on them.
That's good to know.
Yeah, that's good.
We have to adapt to an industry where people just aren't going to have, like most of us. My senior year in high school at Bonner Springs, half my day was auto tech when I was a senior in high school. Those kind of programs just don't exist anymore. We're going to get kids that may have stumbled into it from, working at a gas station or a Jiffy Lube or something like that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Chad Deaver. I want to pipe in too, as it relates to technology and the shift in things that have happened with COVID. As Andy brought up, we are seeing a lot of manufacturers, a lot of OEMs that are transitioning to a digital process for their customers. We run a company where technicians actually send videos to customers directly. This is what customers are wanting. This is the, I would say like an Amazon type experience where we're giving them all the information that they need, and they can improve work right on their phones. They don't have to call the dealership. They're not dealing with the advisors. They're not having to get on the phone system for 15 minutes waiting for someone to call them. So I just want to put that out there. I can't really name names because we got some NDAs, but we have a lot of companies right now that are really shifting to this digital experience for their customers. And I was at a dealership yesterday, a large BMW store, training them on how to send videos to customers. So when you talk about COVID, this touchless experience, we're starting to see a big shift with OEMs wanting to provide this service because that's what customers are wanting. And especially with the millennials that are out there too, that's the way they want to communicate too. They want to text, they want to get a video from the tech, they don't want to deal with the advisor. So just kind of throwing that out there as well. We're seeing a huge shift.
I definitely want to add to that because my dad owns a shop back in Georgia, and it's interesting you said you were at a BMW dealership. My dad has a European and Asian specialty shop, and his customers actually aren't a lot of millennials. They're usually middle and older. But for the last few years that my dad has owned this shop, that's what he does. He sends his customers photos of things, whatever's going on with their car, he sends them photos, videos as well. And he's been doing this for years. And the trust that he has built with his customers, my dad's customer base is all word of mouth. They're all like, as long as they have known my dad, they've always brought their cars to him. Like once he worked on their car once, that was it. That they never took their car anywhere else, unless it was something that my dad doesn't do. And he does like pretty much everything. And that's one of the things that he's been practicing that has set him apart from the other shops in the area. And that's something that I have never seen anyone else do until you just mentioned it. But yeah, that is super important. And it's something that people really appreciate. And it's not only like my age that appreciates that as well, but people who are busy, the doctors and professionals who own these cars that he's working on, people who have other things to do. And if you can just text them or send them a video, it helps them to learn and understand. So they trust you and they know that if you said something's wrong with their car, there's like proof and evidence that there is. They understand what's going on. They understand what they're being charged for. And if they don't care about all that, they can just text back and say, go ahead.
Yeah, that's great. Very good. Anybody else? Any comments, questions?
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment. I'm in marketing with John Deere up in Des Moines, Iowa, and we've been working from home since March. And I'll say working from home has its challenges, like most, but I think one thing that it's helped is communication. You know, before we would go through and have meetings. I wouldn't say meaningfully, but the conversation that we have now is meaningful, and I think it helps go through and get the core message out and make those decisions a little bit quicker. Not have to go through necessarily so many people because it is more difficult. So reason I mentioned that is, as you guys look at doing some teaching, whatnot, virtually, not only is it helping those students learn, but I think it's helping set them up for communicating in a work environment that is somewhat trending in that virtual environment. And like many people have said in here, we don't know if we're all going to go back or not. I could see that trend of people staying home more often and doing some jobs, whereas before we'd sit in an office to do the same thing. So just some personal experiences here from the last few months.
Yeah, great. That's great, Cody.
That is a great point, and especially for people that might have a field type job, that this may be your normal already. That's been my case. I've been before COVID, we maybe went into the office once a month tops, and now it's the norm for everybody, it seems.
Yeah. Very good.
Jeffrey,
Hey, John,
where did you say you work with, or who do you work with?
I'm with FCA, the company that makes fun and functional vehicles.
Yes. Are you an FSC?
Yeah, that's what Ford calls them, but FCA calls them a technical advisor.
Okay, cool. You're the person that I send I will assign it to you after we've given them as much information as they can, or if they're still struggling, if they need that extra or hands-on. Okay, that's cool.
Yep. Yeah, ours is STAR, but yeah, same type of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
So last question for the gang here. How far away do you guys feel you are, who are in the development side of industries, from driverless or autonomous equipment or vehicles?
We got them.
Yeah, we're there already.
And how does that spin into future or technical, technicians and things? I can tell you it's driving our industry quickly. We have fleets of, if you can visualize, a 240-ton machine, 50 of them all run around without anyone in the cab.
Yeah, in Korea we have not only do we have autonomous tractors, but they're also hydrogen powered as well too. So those two industries for us, John, are just booming, right? Hydrogen fuel cell technology, autonomous vehicle, and then whatever you can do to strengthen the curriculum for the students when it comes to connected car technologies. OEMs are figuring out now for sure that we're not going to make any money on cars in the future, but we are going to make money on subscription-based usage through connected car technology. So anything you can do to beef up the curriculum on connected car would be great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and every car manufacturer in the U.S. has got some level of autonomy, or some level of autonomy in the cars. I think everyone has got level 1 on the road. Some people have level 2 on the road. Level 5 is driverless, and every manufacturer has got that in the test fleet. Probably not on the road anywhere, but it is in the test fleet at testing sites.
And Cecil, are they running on a set track that they just repeat, or is it based on driver input? Take me to, you'd tell an Uber driver to take you to a certain spot.
Well, we have
be told where to take it and away it goes.
We have a partnership with Google and Waymo, and they are working with our minivans. Excuse me, and they actually have, and there's a person in the car. Don't misunderstand that. There is a person in the car, but the vehicle drives itself, And right now we have a functional fleet of about 250 of those, and they're all in the Phoenix area. And they are basically an Uber service. Okay, and there is a person in the driver's seat, but that person's not there driving the car. They're there to observe. And Waymo has just, about a year ago, just before the COVID break happened, Waymo ordered 62,000 more vans for development for that fleet.
Wow, that's very interesting.
So, yeah, 62,000 vans was a big order.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With all
Yeah.
the changes coming
Sorry,
down
go
the pipe. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the big holdup right now is NHTSA getting safety approval for that type of a vehicle on the road. I'm pretty sure every manufacturer has the capability of it already in several vehicles. It's just the big holdups, National Highway Safety approving something like that, especially with all the Tesla crashes and everything. So I think it's going to be a little while though.
And Jeffrey's right with what he just said, is that NHTSA is part of the holdup. Another piece that's an issue, and I experienced this with the pickup that I'm driving, is it has level 1, which means it has adaptive cruise control and forward collision avoidance and lane departure sensing and that kind of things. If you look at the markings on the highway that you're driving on, that lane departure, for example, requires those stripes to be reflective. If anybody lives in North Texas, a lot of the stripes in the road surfaces are wore out and are not reflective, so that system does not work. So there's too many, at this point, there's too many things, too many physical things that have to be overcome, and NHTSA has not stepped up and give their blessing for very much of it yet.
That's assuming the road isn't under construction.
Yeah, that too. Very good.
All right. I think we'll go ahead and move on to some prizes, if that's okay with everyone. The moment you've all been waiting for, I'm sure, right? Okay, we'll start out with a coaster set. It has the Champions Plaza Gorilla on it, and this will go to Vince Lindley. Woo! We have this red cup, and this will go to Grant Gable. We have a license plate frame, and one will go to Brett Eichhorn. Sorry if I'm not quite on your names, but I'm trying. And another will go to Naveed.
Oh, yay.
Let's see. We have a koozie and a pair of really cool sunglasses. And this will go to Pete Allen. And we'll also send one to Tanner.
Tanner, all right.
Okay, and we have a coffee mug, and this will go to Richard Chitty. We have this really nice Pitt State umbrella, and this will go to Kendall Allstott.
Very good.
We have a 2021 calendar, and we're going to send 2 of those, one to Mark Drennan and one to David Vandeland.
You know, it's too bad, Danielle. I could have really used that umbrella out here in the desert.
Same here in Kansas.
I'm glad I didn't draw you for that. We have this cooler bag, and this is going to go to Preston Payne. We have this really cool Kansas cutout split face cutting board. And that will be for Reed Zerbe. Did I get close? And last but not least, we got these really neat throw blankets in. They have a big split face on them. And that will go to Kathy Albright and one to Randy Rita.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yay!
Very good.
Amen.
want to say a couple things real quick. Again, I want to thank everyone so much for coming. This was a great group. If anyone has any questions afterwards, you can always send me an email. I also included John Thompson and Bob Frisbee's emails on the on the email that I sent this morning. So feel free to access it there. I see Scott Small is holding up his Oklahoma Gorilla license plate.
Yep.
It looks so good, finally.
Yeah.
If any of you are in Kansas, Missouri, or Oklahoma, we do have Gorilla license plates available. We finally got that Oklahoma one passed, and it's officially in, hopefully on people's cars now. So that's a super easy way to give back to the university through scholarships. And of course, you can put it towards automotive technology if that's what you prefer. But you know, it looks great. And of course, it's a little bit of advertisement for PSU when you're out driving around all of your cool, fancy automotive technology cars, right?
Right.
That's right. Yeah. And I just want to say also, so many of you are, you know, not necessarily in the Pittsburgh area or even in the four-state area, are so far away. Something to consider. I see some people talking about Texas license plates, Arizona. I'm not sure we have the capacity in Arizona. Texas, we actually did try. It's quite the feat, and it's a very expensive investment. So we'll work on that one day. And same with Colorado. That one's kind of on our list too. So we'll work on those. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Sorry, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time here. So as our alumni, you guys are very invested in Pittsburg State and our community and the automotive technology program. I encourage you, if you know any students that are, you know, getting ready to pursue college, you know, encourage them to check out Pittsburg State. If you're in Arizona or Colorado and it's not just an easy drive over to Pittsburgh, put them in touch with me, with Katie, with John, with Bob, with, you know, someone else that you've connected with here at PSU. We would love for them to come back. We would love for our admission counselors to visit with them. You know, you guys are our greatest recruiters. You have had great experiences here. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you're out and about or visiting with your niece and nephew or your children or, you know, whoever that may be. Yeah, send them our way. Okay, so I just want to give one more big thank you to Dr. Frisbee, Dr. Thompson, Scott, Mike, Katie, and all of you wonderful alumni for taking an hour and a half, almost 2 hours out of your evening to visit with us. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys have, yeah, of course, have a great holiday season. And as we like to say, once a gorilla, always a gorilla.
Always a gorilla.
Always. Always.
Thank you so much, Danielle, for putting this together. And all of y'all, thank you so much for participating. It's just wonderful to sit here tonight and see all your faces. This has been awesome. Look forward to getting out and about and getting to see you and shake a hand and maybe share a meal sometime pretty soon. If you're ever back this way, please let us know. We'd love to host you. We'd love to walk you around and show you the campus and show you the department. Very good.
100%.
Merry Christmas, y'all.
Yep. Thanks,
everybody.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye.